Opinionated gamers,
We're the best. Opinionated gamers, better than the rest.
Hey. I'm going to hit reset on this argument. At some point that needs to happen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the VGcritic Opinionated Gamers podcast. My name is Cameron. This week I'm joined by Cooksey.
Hello.
And Eric.
What's up?
We're going to be debating Pokemon's on the Moon.
Yay!
This will be the first time doing it, of course. We'd never do these things. So Sun and Moon is a little different than any other Pokemon game. There aren't really gyms. There are, like,
Trials.
Yeah, I was going to call it tributes for some reason. Then I remembered I was thinking of a different game.
Takes place on the magical island.
It takes
of
place
Alola.
on an island of Alola. It's
Islands.
more Hawaiian.
Islands.
It's more Hawaiian themed than any other game before.
Oh, look, it looks like a what? Oh, just like...
Like I said, there's no gyms. There's just trials.
Sounds like Hawaii.
There's no gyms in Hawaii. Everyone's just already strong. All right, we're gonna start off with Eric, who has the pros, and then we'll move over to Cooksey, who has the cons. You guys have 1 minute. Then I'll let you duke it out for 8 minutes, and then I'll give you 1 minute closing statements. You can go ahead, Eric.
All right. Pokemon Sun and Moon. A great addition to the Pokemon franchise. It added all new Pokemon, plus it brought back classic Pokemon with a reimagining, reskinning of them, plus changed their typing, which was kind of fun. Gave you some new matchups on typing, plus just mixing it up a little bit, new skills they can or new moves they could learn. It added a whole new element of the game with trials, which adopted things like a little Pokemon Snap in there. So game mechanic-wise, it added a whole bunch more. It was really the true first not necessarily 3D, because okay, but you didn't have to go in a plane or diagonally. You could free roam the map for the first time, which was pretty awesome. You still had, even though you didn't have gyms, you still had gym-like challenges. It was a challenge. The AI was improved. The Ultra Beast added an extra challenge. You still became the grand champion by facing a Final Four. Ultimately, it was a great addition with new improvements.
That's 1 minute, Eric.
On the Pokemon franchise.
And Cooksey, you're good to go.
Well, Pokemon Sun and Moon, while being the newest edition, was not the best addition, for sure, to the Pokemon universe. There were a lot of faulty mechanics.
Sorry.
A lot of mechanics
No
that
rebuttals,
were faulty or underutilized. There were a lot of missed opportunities, I feel like. As we went from one of the best games of the Pokemon series being the Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, and X and Y, if you want to include those as well, taking a whole bunch of mechanics and play styles, Mega Evolution and Soar feature, and multiple other things similar to this, and then just dropping the ball by getting rid of them or not utilizing them. Kind of throwing off a lot of people, and when you're not able to transfer Mega Stones up, it just makes it hard. And when I get to fly on a Charizard, I'm not excited, when I really should have been excited for that one.
All right, cool. That was you had 8 seconds left, but thank you. We're gonna move to the Duke 'em out stage. Put 'em up.
I'm a little back. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna start out with
Arms.
Eric. He's gonna
Noodles.
Eric's gonna rebuttal your statement, and then you're gonna rebuttal back and forth.
Got
You 8 minutes on the clock. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, I never said it was the best Pokemon game because I think we can all go back to the nostalgia of Red and Blue, and if they remake that game, we'll all be happy. Like, update new,
They did remake it.
No, but I'm like saying in the whole new 3D realm that we've got now on the Switch, we'd all geek out and heads would explode. But the things it did add were all good additions. Yes, it lost Mega, which I'll just concede that right now. That was really the Mega.
I mean, there's Mega Stones.
There's Mega Stones, but it's just not to the scale that it was in X and Y. Oris, I think, is a great game. I think you could argue it's one of the best Pokemon games, but a lot of that's built on nostalgia. You're doing a remake of a game. For an entirely new Pokemon game, new world, new maps, new Pokemon, new play styles. They nailed it. I mean, they introduced a whole new thing for competitive battling with the Z moves. The Z crystals added a whole thing because you can. It's not just like Mega where you Mega and you get one Mega attack. With Z crystals, I could have a Pikachu, but I can give him a ground, or not a ground, a normal stone, or I can give him an electric and give him different moves that maybe in a competitive battle you're not aware of. And I like that aspect of it.
I'm glad you bring up competitive battling because I think that Sun and Moon killed Pokemon's competitive battling. I think that Pokemon competitive battling has been fun for many game reiterations, but now that Sun and Moon's come around, it has become so niche and so specific. There are only like 4 sets that work, period.
That's because Pokemon battlers never like to challenge the meta.
And
that's the whole, like, that's just a mix. Like, competitive Pokemon battling, those guys are a whole bunch of just, we're going to play the meta and only the meta.
But the thing is that Pokemon totally threw off the balance with these Z-Crystals, and they've thrown off the balance with some of the Pokemon they've added. And rather than try to fix the balancing issues with this new game, I think
they tried to
another
fix
thing
it.
they dropped the ball with, though.
No, but I think they were trying to fix it, but they underestimated the fact that Pokemon competitive gamers will not change from what the meta is. If it works, why branch out from that?
Well, why branch out from it? That's the exact same thing they questioned when they designed
in
this.
competitive battling in Oris, if you had a Talonflame in it, like everyone had a Talonflame because the Talonflame is OP. I like that you can mix it up with Z-Crystals. I think they tried to make competitive battling exciting, and just because the battlers aren't playing by the way that they
the thing
wanted
is,
them to play.
the battlers have tried to break the meta, and there have been attempts to break the meta, and there are counter meta teams, but they still don't work because the Z Crystals and the new Pokemon have made it so niche. And I think that creating Z Crystals was an okay attempt, but just like everything else in this game, it fell short. Just like riding Pokemon. You ride Pokemon around the map, and there's really not enough that comes out of them. Yeah, you get the Tauros and can go to some locations, and the Sharpedo.
But each Pokemon had its own skill. It was the puzzle aspect. They were bringing the puzzle aspect into the game. It wasn't necessarily for purposeful. It was bringing, okay, here's a challenge. It's in the same way that I have to go and get the arrow or the grip hook shooter thing in Zelda before I can do this challenge. I have to go on and figure out how to ride this Pokemon to beat this challenge.
I just hate that you had to walk down a very narrow path to get to the next location where they gave you the Pokemon to solve the problem that's on the path, to get through that path to the next. It was so railroaded, so two-dimensional. It was a very boring game to play as an experienced player.
But if you're thinking on a game developer-wise, Pokemon probably has one of the hardest challenges in all of gaming to take a game that has to be for 8-year-olds or younger in some cases and still appeal to 30-plus-year-olds who played Red and Blue that want to go back to the nostalgia of playing Pokemon. And they had to bridge that gap. And I think they did. I think they had challenging AI, and I think the Ultra Beasts were hard to catch. And I think post-game, the gameplay through was simplified. It was very linear in this game. There wasn't a lot of like free reign. This game was more linear than probably any other Pokemon game in the franchise, but their post game was better. Has some of the longest, more challenging post game because I can't imagine trying to develop a game that is supposed to appeal to children who watch the TV show and appeal to 30-plus-year-olds who want to go back to the nostalgia.
Hey, they did it 20 years ago, and those games were hard and fun. And by saying that they had to mix it up for the sake of now, I'm, almost 20 years old, and I am going back and playing Red and Blue, and really the only thing that doesn't keep me playing is the mechanic or the graphics and stuff, because it's hard to go backwards in a Pokemon game graphics.
All I'm saying is 20 years ago they didn't have to appeal to nostalgia also.
Well,
they didn't. You're right. And
right.
That's the thing.
But the thing is the game was hard, and kids still loved it, 8 years old or younger. And now saying that they have to appeal to both of those two niches, I don't think that means you have to make the game easier. I think that by making the game harder for the kids that are younger, it just creates more a sense of challenge and a more...
Not in the generation we live in where kids, if they don't get instant satisfaction, they quit.
So it's the new generation.
Oh, I think it is. I think it is. Okay. I think there is a societal
and I can see where that would affect it. So I can understand.
I think as game developers, they have to take in society trends and the fact that instant gratification is on the rise with cell phones. And why was Pokemon Go a success instantly and then a failure? It's because it satisfied our instant gratification, but then there was no storyline past that. There was no purpose to it. Gyms were stupid. Right, they had to give us something that was instant gratifying for young children. They instantly got all their Pokemon, and they go through, and it's very linear and it's very easy. But at the same time, when you get to the post game, it became challenging with the post game. Ultra Beasts were not easy to catch or to find. Plus, they made you had to catch multiples of certain ones to beat, and they were in different locations. So you had to know the map and go back and explore, and that became okay. My young child who's 8 or 9 going to play through, and they're going to quit after the Final Four, or they're going to go and explore and just catch Pokemon because Pokemon are cute. But the true purist is going to go, I'm going to go beat the Ultra Beast, and I'm going to catch them, and then I'm going to go to the Battle Tree, which was not easy to get to in the first place. Plus, added a whole new element of a new level of play.
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of interesting ways to see that they have kind of matched that instant gratification. I do think that Pokemon itself has always been pretty good at meeting that instant gratification, and I don't think that they needed to take it to the extreme that they did in that sense, because I think they actually ended up losing more than they gained by aiming for that, and that's where, really the bad taste in my mouth came from with this game. Additionally to that, though, I do think that they did a good job at designing a post-game. I do still feel like they dropped a lot of the really good stuff from the old games. And I think that when you're trying to appeal to the nostalgia of the old players, they could have put more puzzles in there, if you will, rather than just like a challenge that they give you the means to get through.
Their puzzle wasn't very...
It was as soon as they were ready for you to solve it, they gave you the means to instantly solve it.
Yeah.
But I miss the little like side roads that you could go off to and solve that puzzle. And if you never solved it, you could just keep moving, and it wouldn't hold you back. But I think that now they put the puzzle in front of you that's easy, and they said when we're ready for you to solve it, you can solve it. And I think that's where they maybe tried too hard to create or to solve an issue that wasn't there.
All right, Eric, I'm going to give you 30 seconds for a last rebuttal before you go into closing remarks.
All right. I think a last rebuttal?
Yeah, last rebuttal to what he said.
I get a last rebuttal to what you said. I think they did give us... There were parts of the map that I didn't even go to in the linear story mode. And then you had to go back, and there was when you went back to find the Tapus at the end, that was puzzle, that desert that you had to go in certain areas, and that was hard. And so I think they did give us challenges. It just wasn't in the typical sense, because I think ultimately the designer said, okay, we got to have a game that's easy to beat up front, but then the true purists will play the post game, and that's where we're going to put our effort.
All right, thank you, Eric. We're going to go with closing remarks here. We're going to start off with Cooksey, and then we'll go to Eric. You guys have 1 minute each. Go ahead, Cooksey.
Okay. I just feel overall that Pokemon Sun and Moon was really not a good addition to the franchise. And I think that if they'd given it a little bit more time and developed a little bit more, kind of finalized those little mechanics they introduced, created a more balanced gameplay or meta, if you will, more balanced in there, it would have kept the more engaged players more engaged as this new game came out. But I do think that they did a good job of appealing to the younger audience. I just hope that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon fix the little holes that they left wide open.
All right, cool. Eric, 1 minute on the clock. You can go ahead.
I think if we look at what Pokemon did great in this game, it may not be the best in the franchise, but I think it's hard to beat nostalgia and going, okay, Oris is so great because it took a game we all loved and then it made it better. I mean, I think that's hard to top. But I think if you look at the additions that they did, they created a beautiful map. I mean, if you really look at the graphic quality and the settings, the locations, they created it's dynamic, it's challenging. It's you have to think and process, okay, I'm going to go here to get this Pokemon, I'm going to go here. And if you really are trying to catch them all, it's challenging. It's not as easy as previous games to go and get them all. You have to really go and do some research about finding each of these. And there's the element of time being sun and moon, the day and the night, and some are only available at day and some are only available at night. And that made it, for the true Pokemon purist who's going to play through this game, that's what made it challenging. It wasn't the story mode, because that's not why you play Pokemon. You don't play for the story. I mean, if you're playing Pokemon for the story, then you're probably one of those people that reads Playboy for the articles.
Thank you, Eric. That was perfect timing, 1 minute exactly. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to play the game for yourself, figure out if you are on the Pro Camp or the Con Camp, click here to purchase the game. Also, link in the description below. If you want to continue to watch our arguments, go ahead and subscribe. New arguments every week. Possibly twice a week, who knows. Comment below if you're in the Pro Camp or the Con Camp. Let us know what we missed, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
welcome to the Opinionated Gamers Podcast by VGcritic. I'm Cameron, the moderator this week. Oh wow, I'm gonna have to restart that one.
This would be a great blooper reel.
Thanks.